Alright, hello everybody, we are back with some more Hades 2 1.0 content, bringing you the next part of the Vow of Rivals boss guide, Surface Edition. We're doing both Polyphemus and Eris today, going to be a rather short one, 2 of the more simple Rivals boss fights, and then we'll be back next day with a much longer one, covering both Prometheus and Heracles, as well as the Typhon fight. So without further ado, let's get into the Polyphemus Rivals fight, and then we'll head on to Eris after that. Okay, the Rivals Polyphemus Max Frenzy Starter Guide, I suppose we'll call this one. I don't know as much about the surface bosses as I do the underworld, but I still feel like I can give everyone a solid game plan on how to clear the Rivals bosses a lot better than before, leaving you with many more resources to take on the rest of the night. First thing you're going to want to do, scripted Polyphemus Medea attack. Walk a little bit and then dash through them. You'll never get hit. And it's a pretty solid damage window to begin. So walk, walk, dash. Hey, look, you're behind them. Boom, big damage. In phase 1, and honestly throughout the fight, not much changes. I have to be really careful here not to phase them with how much damage I have apparently. Polyphemus has a few set attacks, Medea has a few set attacks, there is also adds that will spawn the barrelmen and zombies, and then the sheep. There is green sheep and black sheep explode, green sheep will slow you. Medea teleports around and either throws a poison projectile or tries to stab you with her poisoned knife. Polyphemus has what you just saw as the 2-part kick attack with that slow AoE pulse wave and the fast kick afterwards. You can wait until they stack and dash through both of them, or you can dash through the first part of the AoE and not line yourself up with Polyphemus and you won't be hit by the second part. Then he also has a jump with the active hitbox being his toes, and when he lands a pulse coming out of the ground you can dash through to avoid. Then here is his counter. So if Polyphemus is trying to hear you and you damage him, he will pick up a gigantic boulder and throw it at you. If he does that, you're going to want to run away from where he's throwing the boulder and then dash through the wave that comes out of the boulder once it is thrown. So go ahead, trigger it, and then dash through it. There it is. Boom. But more reliably, the best thing to do to avoid the counter is to not damage Polyphemus during it. Admittedly, Rocky and many other sources of damage that can sometimes be out of your control can trigger it, so just be ready to dodge when need be. Besides the 2-part pulse wave, counter attack, and jump attack, Polyphemus can also grab you. To avoid that, just stay out of Polyphemus's range, like so. And on top of the grab, there is also the 2-part ground slam that Poly has, where he just kind of punches the ground twice. Same idea as the grab, stay out of the range, and that pretty much concludes everything Poly and Medea, as well as the sheep, are going to do within phase 1. And we'll go ahead and do our phase transition, head into phase 2. The phase transition is always the same once you trigger it. Medea's going to do the 5 straight lines of poison. Polyphemus is going to do a jump attack. This area down here is very safe from the poison. Also, Medea's poison lines, if she threw it from this side, don't extend all the way to the other side. So you can be safe at the very end range of each line as well, which is quite nice. Also, like I said, are going to summon the barrelmen and zombies. Make sure to clear them out to simplify the fight if you are struggling, is a very good idea. I believe Polyphemus gets access to his walk move in phase 2. I don't really see him do it in phase 1, but it's actually a really good time to damage Poly. All he does is walk forward, leaving some pulse waves on the ground around him, and you have a pretty easy ability to just stand in front of him and whack away at him during that. And Medea doesn't really change, still just doing the poison projectile or poison stab. I did forget to mention, she can also curse something to make it explode, which is quite interesting, so do be wary of that. But besides that, it is a pretty standard, pretty simple fight. Not saying it's not dangerous. If you get grabbed by Polyphemus, you can get dealt a lot of damage. If Medea catches you with a strong teleport and stab attack, she can catch you with a lot of damage. If you accidentally trigger Poly's counter and he throws a rock at you, sometimes the projectile waves can stack up in a way that will lead you to getting hit. The 2-part kick attack, if you don't know how it is dodged, can definitely be difficult as well. Like so. But that is about that. We'll do another phase transition now. Please and thank you. Medea is going to go ahead and throw a pentagram of poison on the ground, so the edges are always going to be pretty much safe outside of a few very small areas where the poison extends to. But you're going to want to hold the wall for that phase transition, and once again, Polly's just going to do a jump attack, spawn some ads, and then the final phase is pretty much the same thing. Medea's 2 or 3 different attacks, explode something, throw a projectile, try to stab you, and Polyphemus is listen and throw a boulder. 2 kicks, jump and a ground pulse, or a grab or a ground slam, like so. And that is about that. Of course, Poly can be augmented with Medea's poison as well, so do be wary, and if you ever get poisoned, just go straight to the pool and get it off yourself. It does a ton of damage if you let it stack, so don't. Rush over to the poison, scare yourself. That is essentially the Polyphemus Rivals fight, though. I would consider it a difficult fight. I would consider it a simple fight, though. And that's okay. It's actually quite fun once you get to know it. The poison can be a bit frustrating around lovers, barriers, and Gale, but it's kind of just a strong counter to them, and I think it's okay to have in the game. If you're close enough to Poly during his double kicks too, you can always just dash behind and start dealing some pretty optimal damage as well. And there it is. Goodbye, Polyphemus, and I hope this general basic rundown of the fight is enough for you guys. There really isn't too much to the fight, and I don't think it needs to be a crazy long guide. Alright, on to Eris now. Okay, and Rivals Eris now. Starting the fight, she's always going to shoot a projectile and dash backwards so you can get some damage in right here. Then, of course, she has the typical bomb and laser patterns, as well as this kind of rain of fire she drops down. General rule of thumb in the Eris fight is always try to stay right behind her. And more often than not, if there's a bomb on the ground, that's where she's gonna be aiming for the most part, I have found. Also, when it comes to the bombs she plants on the ground, please control them to the best of your ability. They do a ton of damage, they are great area denial, you need to break them. You can break them with any sort of attack, or special, or damage cast. I don't think Storm Ring can target them, but most damage casts can do it, certain sprints can do it, and any sort of long-range attack or special can do it. As long as you're outside of their explosive AoE, you can break them without taking damage. That's what you're going to want to focus on during the Eris fight. Stay behind Eris, DPS, 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 and of course manage the Lucifer balls at all times. That is your game plan during the fight. Damage cast. The different Rain of Fire or, Airstrike AoEs, they leave a circle on the ground. Don't be in them when she slams down. Once again, stay behind her. Once again, manage the Lucifer balls. Once again, she's typically going to try to shoot the Lucifer balls to explode them herself. That's the entire gimmick, after all. She has the sweeping laser attack. She has the knockback tornado while she's doing all this. And she has the charge move she's about to do there as well. There is a little bit of a delay on breaking Lucifer balls, so you can attack them and dash away sometimes as well. Once you phase Eris, she is going to spawn adds 2 separate times in the fight. So you want to clear those out as soon as they come down and be very quick about it, because she's rather fast to spawn as well. And then just always keep an eye on Eris, no matter what she's doing. Stay behind her, break the balls, be careful of the lasers, DPS, DPS, DPS. And be ready for the airstrike move. Typically, that's about it. Anytime Eris gets herself in the fire, she'll typically go up in the air and reset. Sometimes she just happens to go up in the air and reset anyways. And then on top of that, her combo breaker, if you deal too much damage to her, is also her going up in the air and resetting, so do be wary of that. On the phase transition, she does shoot a ton of Lucifer balls down as well. So make sure to break all of those as she gets them down. We're going to go ahead and phase transition her now as we kind of walk through her entire first phase. Boom! Once again, be careful of the missiles. Here we go. Put your damage cast down. Break the Lucifer balls on transition. Focus on the ads as fast as you can because she drops down really fast. And if she does drop down and you haven't killed the ads yet, you need to run and try to get behind her. And while you stay behind her, continue to deal with the ads. That is the safe spot, just like Cerberus, right on Eris's back at all times. and focus on those Lucifer balls. Not much changes in this phase. She has a bunch of different airstrike patterns, which can be a little bit difficult to dodge. I'm not too familiar with all of them myself. And then, of course, the simple knockback and fly away. But this fight is one of the most simplistic and probably overall easiest Rivals fight until you get into situations where you're on very high fear with very little damage. And for the most part, it's intuitive unless Eris decides to not shoot in the direction of a Lucifer ball or not shoot in your direction and instead like away from you and you dash into it. And then, of course, just dash into where the Hellfire or the airstrike missiles are finished attacking already and you will be safe. But for the most part, like I said, very simple fight. Stay on Eris's back, dodge away from the lasers, manage the Hellfire orbs, etc, 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 and you should be more than fine. Go ahead and phase her again now, why not? Careful of her dash through as well, it does quite a bit of damage. The final phase is very scary. She does get extra laser effects. Once again, break all these Lucifer balls. Probably try to stay out of them, unlike me. And manage the second set of ads. She's going to spawn on the phase transition. Get them out of the arena as fast as you can, so it's just back down to you and Eris. Manage those Lucifer balls and sit behind her. Here we go. These are the big scary lasers. You really want to try to DPS through this as fast as you can, because she has much more attacks than she used to. Too close to the fire, she goes ahead and flies up. There we go. 3 or 4 big sweeping lasers. You really need to behind her, or you really need to be behind her when she does that, because otherwise you are probably getting hit. I guess I could showcase what it's like if you're not managing the Lucifer balls pretty well. Just leave them on the ground. It does get quite terrifying. Just more AoE denial you can't really handle, and more explosions as she shoots them. Boom! Boom! And that's probably another general tip I'll give for the fight, is always try to make sure you have a damage cast set and ready for the Eris fight if your aspect doesn't have a long-range poke tool that can kind of handle destroying the Eris projectiles themselves. But that is the Rivals Eris fight in a nutshell. Manage the Lucifer balls, stay on her back, try to dash through the lasers and the airstrikes to the best of your ability. Phase transitions come with extra Lucifer balls and an ad set phase. And that is that. Really not much else to say. Like I said, probably the most simple Rivals fight. Not that you're not going to take damage, not that it's not a dangerous fight, especially if you don't know what you're doing. And this very final phase is quite scary. She's jumping all over the place. She's shooting the Lucifer balls. She's flying up and down. She almost did a full 180 on me there. She's dashing through. You gotta get real behind her as fast as you can here. Manage the Lucifer balls. Be very careful of what she is doing. Boom. And bang. Well, that's gonna go ahead and do it for me and the Polyphemus and Rivals Eris fight. A quick little one today. We'll be back next time with the Rivals guide. With both Peromacles and Tiffany. Alright, that is going to do it for the guide today. Short and sweet, but I believe I've covered everything that I needed to help you be successful in the Polyphemus and Eris fight. I know a lot of people said they struggled with them, so I did want to cover this in a video for you all. So thank you all for watching and supporting the channel. If you did enjoy the video, please do give it a like. It really does help me out a lot. And if you want to keep up with more of my Hades 2 content, please consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you again for watching. Okay, bye. And a massive thank you to my members for supporting the channel. John Costello, Zuko's Honor, Horia Dragomir, Avocado Anna, Gay UD, Mice Jr., Shag, Daddy, Vetatoid, Rob Wallace, Katarina V, Ticolo, Hideki 504, Andy Fu, Saint Naive, But What About the Hostages, Nightcrawler, Paul, Shoshin, Nathan, Mininet, Andrew Reddick, Quib, Fishin' Tomas, Nick J38, Vervacitus, George Lynn, and Xantus.